I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on Metal Rules, we are speaking with Doro Pesch to talk about her new album, Conqueress Forever Strong and Proud, due out October 27th. Welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me, and yeah, great talking to you.
I'm really excited about the album. I think it sounded tremendous, and it's congratulations. And I think the fans really enjoy you putting out an album almost every year. So that's tremendous.
Actually, yes. Yeah, I don't even know how many albums we put out. Maybe, I mean, with like the limited editions and live and best ofs and classics with orchestra, I think it must be 25 by now. And
Well, tell me about the importance of putting out new music all the time and what it means to you.
I love writing new songs. I love having new material, and hopefully then people fall in love with some new songs. That is so great. And I think every record is a sign of the time. So sometimes you have different subjects you want to sing about or write about, and and I love doing albums. But touring or playing live, that's my absolute favorite. But in the studio and writing songs, that's great too. And then you have a new thing to go on tour, to have maybe a different theme.
Oh, that's great. It doesn't come out until October 27th. How long has the album been completed?
Actually, that's a funny story because the whole album you can get in vinyl and limited edition, and it has 20 songs and picture disc vinyl and a box set, which is awesome. There's some little jewelry in it. It's actually an X. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and then actually I had to deliver it beginning of this year. And I was on tour last year, so on, so on. So I met Rob Halford and Judas Priest 2 times in France at Hellfest. It's a great festival, huge. It's like Wacken. And then we were talking, and it was my very first tour with Judas Priest in 1986. And it was my favorite band, and it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So we always, stayed friends. We always met, on festivals and stuff. So this time we were talking a little bit backstage, and I said, yeah, I'm just doing a new album. And I said, man, would it be possible, if we do something together? And he said, absolutely, absolutely. I said, really? And I said, my favorite song to do would be Living After Midnight, because I sang it many times in the 80s with some other bands. Usually it was an encore when we were like having the tour ending or something. So he said, yes, let's do it. He said, and I would like to do a song. It is Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Oh my God.
And wow, that's a Jim Steinman production. And I knew the song. Yeah, it's a great song. I said, really? He said, yes, I wanted to do it for a couple of years with you, and it would be awesome. So we recorded Total Eclipse of the Heart, and then I gave him a stick on, I think it was Rockfest in Spain, and I said, yeah, it's Total Eclipse of the Heart, check it out, it's a demo and stuff. And he said, yeah, what's up with Living After Midnight? And I said, oh yeah, I would love to do it. And I wasn't sure if we could even do 2, and it was such a big honor. And he said, yeah, Living After Midnight as well. So we recorded Living After Midnight. And then I did some touring and festivals, and I went to Mexico. It was a great festival. It was called the Heaven and Hell Fest. Mm-hmm. And it was a long flight. I was totally exhausted from touring. I was tired. And a couple of hours later, I had to hop on stage. And it was a huge festival, like 60,000 people. So the road crew, they said to me, Doro, there's something which, will wake you up, we guarantee. And I said, what is it? And I said, it's nothing to see, it's something to hear. And I said, okay. And then I put on the vocals of Rob Halford, and Rob Halford recorded the Living After Midnight vocal. And I thought, it sounded so great. So I hopped on stage. I was so happy. It was great. So we recorded Living After Midnight, mixed it, mastered it. And then I delivered the record in time early this year. And then I got an email, and Rob said, what's about Total Eclipse of the Heart? And I thought, oh shit, the record is already done. I delivered it.
Yeah.
And, and I said, yes, I would love to do it. And it was actually too much for me to ask. 2 songs, wow. So I talked to the record company and I said, the vinyl is done. It's printed. It's already done. And I said, yeah, but I want to do it on the CD, on a real CD, not limited edition, real CD. So we did it. And it was the last song. And yeah, it just I delivered it a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and the CD, thank God, is not pressed yet, but it will be soon, like probably next week. Yeah, so there was like these 2 duets, and I'm so happy, I'm so proud. And
yeah, it's very exciting. And we'll do a write-up, and there'll be a write-up and there'll be a pre-order so people could order the different options. So that's cool.
Super.
But
Yeah,
when I wasn't listening, I didn't look at the track listing. I just put the album on. I was really enjoying the album. And then I'm like, oh my God, Rob Halford is singing the Bonnie Tyler song. I was like, this is a completely unexpected moment. I was like, I had to listen to it a couple of times. I said, the part about Bright Eyes, and I was like, I had to ask you whose idea was it. So it's very interesting to find out it was his idea.
Yes, he loves that song, and he said, I always wanted to do it with you. I said, wow, and yeah. I did one time a Bonnie Tyler song for a movie. It was a great movie, and the movie producer, he asked me if I could do Holding Out for a Hero, and I said, yeah, I can try. And so I was familiar with Jim Steinman production. It's a lot of stuff going on. It's really involved. It was like really 80s stuff, man. It probably took weeks or months, but that came out really good, and the movie went well. It's unfortunately only in German, but it's called Der letzte Bulle. But anyhow, so I was familiar with like style and all. Yeah, and then we did it, and I think it came out fantastic. I think it's so powerful, so unusual, but
yes.
So
what do you think heavy metal fans are going to think of Rob Halford singing a Bonnie Tyler song?
I mean, the young fans, I told some people already, like younger fans, they don't even know that. They weren't even born when that song was a hit.
Right.
So probably young fans, they don't know, but I think it came out so great that I think everybody will love it. And when you hear Rob singing it, you can really tell that he loves that song. I think, man, that shines through. And when I was singing and listening to his voice, and I thought, oh man, that's so great. And yeah, so I think they will love it. And
I did.
there are tons of, you liked it. Oh, good.
I liked it a lot.
And there are tons of really heavy songs on it, like I Will Prevail, or Time for Justice, or Children of the Dawn. So it's different, but I think it's very special.
It's good. It's going to be a great album. You always expend an extreme amount of energy creating an ultimate expression in your songs, from the metal tracks to the ballad to the cover songs. Do you know what drives that artistic work ethic?
It goes without saying. It always, I don't know. To me, it always has to be perfect. But what perfect means, that's sometimes hard to explain for me when another person, has a different, has a different background, or, sometimes, my perfect must be not the same what, the producer or the guitar player or, somebody else thinks. But, but usually I always feel it in my heart when something is done and when something is right. Or when I have a new song, when a new song idea is coming out, and when I get totally excited about it, then, I can't sleep at night, I can't eat, my heart is pumping, and then I know, this could be maybe a good idea for the album. And sometimes I felt, when I feel super excited, then the fans feel the same. It translates.
That's great.
Of course, everybody has a different taste. When you like hardcore, then you maybe don't like the ballads, but for most part, when I feel something, the diehard fans, it's it translates, I think. But you always give your best, I think, in the studio or on tour, or I always try to make the best out of each situation. And sometimes time is on your side, and sometimes time is maybe not so on your side. I was many times feeling, wow, we're getting the support of the whole metal thing, and universe and community. And then, in the 90s when grunge was big, suddenly you felt, oh, it's a little bit more difficult. So you have to work 10 times harder. But we'll never give up and always try the best.
That's great. You're a great lyricist also. Was there any song that you think was like coming through you from above that just came to you?
Yeah, many songs are like that. Many songs are like that. For example, Heavenly Creatures, it's a song. It had a different lyric, different title before, and I wrote it with my producer from the second and third album, from the Hellbound album in the 80s, and we wrote the song together, but it never made an album. And then I listened to it again. I thought, this is for the animals, and I love animals. I can't have pets, but I grew up with dogs and horses. I love them so much, so I thought I want to write a song for the animals, and that definitely came from above. That's the reason why it's called Heavenly Creatures. And A Fire in the Sky, there was another song. I was in Sweden, and our new guitar player, Bill Hudson, he sent me a demo. I listened to the demo, and then immediately Fire in the Sky was there, just the picture, which is like, unfortunately, a sign of the times. And so many songs, they come from above, or they come from your heart or from your soul. And most of the time it is that way. And the one song which is half in German, half in English, it's called Fels in der Brandung. That means kind of like, you're my rock, you're the one I can turn to, you're my savior in a really bad situation. It can't be translated exactly because it's a saying in German. And one time I was in my car and, talking, there was something going on, problems. And my mom, she sat next to me, and we were trying to figure it out and stuff. And then she turned to me, she said, man, Doro, you're a Fels in der Brandung, right? And I said, Mom, yeah. And I think that's a great song title. So I wrote the song Fels in der Brandung, you're my rock. But I actually, when I wrote it, then I mean somebody else is my rock. Or the fans can do their interpretation. Yes.
Heavenly Creatures was a really very commercial rock song. So it's interesting that you said it was written, in the 80s, because it definitely has a very commercial rock sound, like radio rock sound. So I like that.
It was written in 80s, 90s. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I don't even know why it never made an album. I thought it was so great, but sometimes sometimes it doesn't feel, or it doesn't call for it, and sometimes you say, that's right, now it feels good now.
Great. Horns Up was a great song too. It has a Ramstein vibe to it. Do they, being from Germany, do they influence you at all in your writing?
Oh yeah. I love Ramstein, and I was on promotion tour with them in 1995.
Really?
And they just had a little development deal. We were both on Polygram, and they had a development deal. They just had cassettes. And then we had a little promotion tour, actually just for back in the day when there were people and they were recommending to record stores what to put in their record stores. So we did a whole promotion tour just for these people who were, like recommending stuff, and and it was awesome. They were really young, 95, and then 1 year later the first record came out. I loved them so much, and I think they're an awesome band, creative, totally different. And at the moment there's a little discrepancy here because something happened on tour.
Right.
But and I saw Till Lindemann in Mexico. We played together this festival, Heaven and Hell, and it was great show, great performance. And and I tell you, and they were all from East Germany, which when we started our first band, the wall was still up. Right. You could never go to East Germany, and East Germany people, they could never go to West Germany. We always tried to tour there, but no way, it was no way. And for a band from former East Germany to really make it big worldwide, it's like, wow, it's That's unbelievable, unbelievable.
And they don't sing in English. That's the
Yes,
more
yes.
they sell out here in the United States, and you're in California, I'm assuming.
Oh,
They're
I
selling
know.
out, stadiums, and they're not
Yes,
singing anything in English.
yeah,
It's
that's
incredible.
unbelievable, unbelievable. I saw him many times, and I saw him one time in France. And usually in France, people like, when you speak French, that's cool. But any other language, they like their French language. But even Ramstein in France, everybody sings along, and they're huge there as well. So yeah, so it's yeah, it's
You
pretty
you
awesome.
mentioned you mentioned you're from West Germany. They were from East Germany. Where were the Scorpions from? What?
West Germany,
West
West
Germany
Germany.
too.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You could definitely not get out. Some people try to get out of East Germany, but many people got killed. It
Yeah.
was heavy, heavy, and yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
one time I remember, that was a great memory. I want to tell you. I was in LA working with Gene Simmons. He produced one of our
Yeah.
records, and Tommy
Yep.
Thayer was the co-producer and played all the guitars. And I was doing vocals, and Gene was in the lobby and, watching some TV. And then he came into the control room. He said, Doro, you got to come. There's something on TV. You got to see it. And I said, oh, no, Gene, I'm just having such a good time. I'm singing this song and, and I feel good and the vocals are coming out great. He said, no, I think it's really, it might be interesting. And I said, okay. So I came out and we were both staring at the TV. It was a little tiny TV, staring. And that was the day when the wall came down. It was in 1989.
Right.
And I thought, wow. And then standing there together with Gene Simmons. And that was actually unheard of, that something like this would, yeah, would go out in a good way without shedding blood, without
Sure.
having a war. That it was like so, so easy, like wow. And now it's like one country, and we always play there, and it's cool. And
That's a
but
historic moment and a great memory with Gene Simmons, right?
yes,
One of
yes.
my heroes too.
And when we did the record, then when I'm in the studio, I'm so so into the record. I don't even watch TV. People always think I'm dead because I don't call anybody anymore. I'm so into just
Yeah.
recording, and especially with Gene Simmons. I am a big Kiss fan, so it was always like unbelievable. And yeah, and then I wasn't even aware that stuff was changing. Like, a couple of months before, like here, or the whole world could see there was something changing, something was going on, but I didn't know because I was just,
Locked in the
doing the
studio.
record. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, so it was a
One of my other
big.
favorite songs on the album was the bonus track, Lean Mean Rock Machine. And you talk about your love of heavy metal. What is it that playing heavy metal still excites you some 30, 40 years into your career?
Oh, I love it so much. For me, it's total freedom. It's like the whole metal lifestyle I love. I think the people are so awesome people. They have their heart in the right place. You can trust the metalheads. I trust them with my life. I always have. And it's like, yeah, I think metal is great. To me, everything is metal, like a fast song or a heavy song, anthem, ballad, whatever you feel, and you could say whatever you wanted. Yeah, to me, it was total freedom. And when I started my first band, we didn't even know that it was heavy metal. It was so new.
Yeah.
And I had my very first band, 1980. That band was called Snakebite, then Beast, then Attack, and then Warlock we formed in 82. And that was when metal started to become bigger and bigger and bigger. But in the beginning, we just did what we want to do, and it was actually not much different than what we do now.
Sure,
And
sure.
and I like the whole spectrum. I like it from super hard, heavy, hardcore to super, super sensitive, soulful, emotional. And I always want to make people feel something and give them good, positive energy and power and strength. And
I love melody, so I think your songs hit the mark with the heaviness, just the right amount of heaviness and great, memorable melody. So, and you've never lost your edge. so many artists through the years, they go soft. You've always, you've
Yeah.
always had an edgy bite to you, and you've never lost it. So kudos to you. How did you keep that up?
Thank you. Oh, there was sometimes a hard fight because there were all kinds of suggestions. Like sometimes the major labels, they always expect you to be more commercial, to be more radio friendly. Oh my God. And one time we had this experience. It was actually on the third album, the third Warlock album, True Steel. We did some demos and they were really heavy, real metal, great songs, I think, great anthems. And then the guys of the record company said, yeah, you have to tweak it a little bit and stuff, polish it more, make it more radio friendly, more commercial. And we thought, oh no. So they got in a songwriter who was tweaking some lyrics. And actually I wrote all the lyrics, and I didn't grow up in America or in England, so it was always a little bit more difficult. And so I was actually glad that they took somebody from England to help us, or to help me with the lyrics and stuff. I thought, okay. So first day we met, we both thought, man, that doesn't work out. It was on a totally different vibe. It was not heavy metal. And he said, Doro, it was in Hamburg. He said, you know what, you go into the hotel and I tweak it a little bit and I call you when I think there's something nice. And then, we talk about it and you feel it out. I said, okay. So he called me one time and he said, Doro, we have all hits. I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, I changed the lyrics and the record company is jumping up and down. It's awesome. And I said, you talked to the record company before you showed me the new tweaked lyrics? And I said, oh, I hope I will like him. Yeah, you will love him. Yeah, okay. So I went to his place and then he showed me some of the lyrics and said, well, there's one song I really like, and it was, I forgot the real title, but it was a real heavy metal anthem. Something like Heavens Like Hellfire or something like that. Like real heavy sing-along, great. He said, yeah, I have a much better lyric. And the record company totally loves that song. It's a total single. And I said, so what is my Heavens Like Hellfire? He said, Igloo on the Moon. I said, Igloo on the Moon? What's that? I have no, I have no connection to that. And I'm not sure that the metalheads would know what that, that's not good. So, oh my God. So to make a long story short, I had to sing all the new lyrics and I sang it under tears. And it was like certain words I wouldn't want to say it because I didn't feel it. And and then we recorded it. We recorded it in Munich. And then we needed somebody to mix it. And they wanted to have a big name. And actually it was mixed in LA by Michael Wagner. And probably the record company told him, hey, do it really radio-like, and there were all these LA bands which were really commercial and stuff, and more pop. And then the record came back mixed, and we immediately got into fistfights, the whole band.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and the poor producer, he was then not the producer anymore. That's the guy I wrote Heavenly Creatures with, and he was so sad. He said, man, I tried my best, but you guys, and it was very commercial. And I thought, I will never ever do that anymore. If somebody suggests something what I don't feel or what we don't feel, we won't do it. So that was my big lesson. But it was my first America release. And then we did a little promotion tour. I had 3 days in New York. And after 2 days, I knew I wanted to stay. And then I stayed. And then we did this great album, Triumph and Agony, with all the hits on it and all we young for immer, and got played by MTV up and down. And it was then our big hit. Yeah.
Believe in yourself and have that integrity, and really stick to your guns, so to speak,
Yes.
It's important.
Yeah. But when you're young, when you're my first drummer in Warlock, I think he was 14 or 15 years old, we were really young,
Yeah.
And then, and some people who were older or more experienced or record company, like the boss, so you think, oh, okay, we don't feel like it, but maybe they know better. But then that one record, I thought, no,
Never again.
that was enough. So it was a good learning experience. And yeah, but from that day on, everything you hear and see, it's totally honest. That's the way it should be. And, no fake stuff. And yeah.
That's awesome. I want to be respectful to your time. Do you have time for one more question?
Yes.
Okay. Throughout your career, I've been a fan, and there's never been stories of like you being drunk, addictions, rehabs, fighting in the press. How did you avoid all of that trappings from the 80s that was so, Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue and all the craziness? How did you avoid it all?
It's a simple answer. It's because the love for the fans and the love for the music, that is my drug. That's my everything. I don't need anything else. When I see the fans, when I'm on stage, small club, big stadium, Wacken Festival, wherever, I'm so happy, and it fills me up with so much inspiration, motivation. I don't need anything else. And then I go back to the studio and think, oh man, what I saw or what I felt, I can, put maybe in another song. So to me, the fans and the music, that's my life elixir and my drug and the love of my life. The fans are the love of my life. So that's why I never had to do anything else. I got one time drunk because Lemmy made me drunk when I had this audition, and we were chain smoking, drinking, and I had this audition in England, and I was in a pub with Lemmy. First time that I met Lemmy, it was in 84 or something. And I was there by myself, and I went into this club and into this pub, and then Lemmy was there, and he smiled at me. He said, "Hey, Doro, let's have a cigarette. Let's have some whiskey cola." And it was so much whiskey and then so little bit Coca-Cola, and yeah. And then we started drinking, laughing, really becoming great friends. I loved him so much. And then after a couple of hours, Lemmy said, "Hey, you have to do an audition, right? You have to do a gig." And it was a very important day. And then I walked out of this pub, and I felt so drunk, and I thought, oh my God. And then I couldn't find the club anymore because I was drunk. Everything looked the same. It was dark, raining. And then finally I found the club, and everybody was so mad at me that I showed up so late. And the band I was supposed to play with, they were waiting on stage. And then I said, "Oh, okay, are you ready now?" I said, "Yeah, I'm sorry. And I hopped on stage, and I tried to sing, and I forgot all the lyrics because the whiskey went to my head. And I thought, oh my God. And then I let the guys play instrumental, even on my own audition. And then they were done, and I was so ashamed. And then I walked off stage, and then people started yelling at me, and they told me that I ruined my life, I ruined my career, and what did I do? And then suddenly somebody was laughing, and they turned around, and it was Lemmy. And I said, yeah, I know, I screwed up my life and my career, and there is no career, but I'm best friends with Lemmy, and it means much more to me. And then everybody started laughing, and and Lemmy was like hilarious. He was like, because everybody was so serious, I was so serious, so tense. And Lemmy, he was such a free spirit. He was just laughing. And and then I said, okay, we totally understand. You will get a second chance. And if it wouldn't have been for Lemmy, there wouldn't have been any record, any career. But
Oh, that's great. That's a fascinating story. That is awesome. And I want to thank you so much for your time today. A really fascinating interview. Thank you for sharing all those great stories with me. Really cool stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and all the best to your listeners and viewers, and and see you soon. See you, and maybe we are playing Prop Power in Atlanta, 6th of September.
Okay. How are you coming up? Are you coming to New York at all? Any chance of coming?
Yes, it's in the making. Yes.
All right. I'll be there. I will be there in New York.
Super.
Thank you, Doro.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.